everybody. Welcome to week 12. Today I am here, Christine Hanks, with Dave Hall, owner of Cellercise, and we are going to spend some time focusing on our neck, the upper shoulder, the middle back, the lower back, and talking about the back and how to make it healthier for those of us that may be having problems. And so that's what our main focus today is. We'll have questions and answers, but then we'll focus in on that. We've gone ahead and started putting it in this horizontal frame. We're just hoping that people can let us know if they're seeing us correctly. It's a much wider than we've had in the past, so if you'll just give us a thumbs up on whether you can hear us well and whether you can see us okay, or if we're standing too far away. We just want to have that come in from those of you watching us. Otherwise, while we're waiting for those to come in, we're going to go ahead and start with some testimonials. Do you want to go ahead and start with those for us today?
Let's do it. I want to say hi to everybody. I hope you've had a great experience with Cellercise so far. For those of you who are advocates or avid users of the Cellerciser, feel free to share and support the others that are involved with Cellercise. For those who are new, you know that Cellercise is weight bearing, it's not weightlifting. And if you don't know that, you want to go to our website, read a little bit about it, because this is not like your typical exercise program at all. It's a whole different way of thinking. I had somebody call me up today and say, how come you don't have these in health clubs? And I said, because it's a whole different mindset. Nothing wrong with health clubs, nothing wrong with targeting the body as muscle groups and body parts. That's okay. Cellercise doesn't do that. It treats the body as a whole, and it's weight bearing on the entire body as a whole. So yes, let's read some of the testimonials. And I want to say thank you for all of you who have called, who have been so supportive, and who have been willing to share some of your experience with some of the others. So thank you very much. This is from Robin. She says, I can't believe how quickly my body responds to Cellercising. I've had serious pain in my shoulder and neck for months. I started doing what was outlined in weeks 10 and 11. That's on our Facebook program. She says, I believe, weeks 10 and 11, I believe. And my pain is so much less and no longer wakes me up every time I move in bed. Cellercising is my play-in and my rehab that works. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Dave Hall. I'm beyond happy. 10 to 14 minutes a day. What a difference. Thank you for sharing, Robin.
Perfect, okay.
And Roxanne says, yes, Dave Hall, I'm on oxygen and have been since March of 2014. And I use my Cellerciser that arrived 2 years ago every day. Now I'm strong enough to use it without my oxygen for a time. I don't get excessive or crazy, but I do a plethora of movements, but often just walking, bouncing in place. I want to move my lymphatic system so that the detoxification process continues and I continue to heal and regenerate, because the doctors have told me it won't happen. I know different. Bless you for all you do, and thank you. And you know, it starts with that belief and the recognition that our body is made up of intelligences that know how to create, maintain, and heal the body. We just need to learn how to work more effectively with them. And in an upcoming program, we'll talk more about the lungs, how to open up the lungs more effectively, how to strengthen the lungs and activate the lymphatic pump in the upper cavity. And that is a program that I discovered for me personally. I've since shared it with a great many people, and people that have had asthma or hay fever and other issues. That increase of lymph flow and oxygen has been very effective.
Okay, so we have let me see if I can get my English correct. Maybe I'm not speaking it right. Kathy, who called in last week, has an update. So I just wanted you to read her quick little update right there.
Oh, Kathy, thank you again. She was on a couple weeks ago and was willing to share her story, and thank you for writing it. Catherine says, follow up on my knee and medial meniscus tear. Went to physical therapy for insurance purposes today, and it was a joke. My knee is so strong due to my intentional rebounding. No brace and walking, stairs, standing at work for 8 hours in an operating room. Life is better with the rebounder and your instructions, David Hall. Thank you. Thank you for sharing it, Catherine.
Okay, so I've been seeing a lot of people come up here. We're so excited to have you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And Kathy, we were just talking about you in case you missed it. She just came on. We're going to go ahead, and we had someone come on and ask us about, oh my word, how do I get this trifold back into this bag? So we're going to actually show you today how to take it out, set it up, and put it back in the best way. Okay? And
yes.
quickly.
And I want to thank you for bringing up the questions so that we can give you the answers. So please keep them coming. But here's the trifold. It's a new unit. We took it out of the packaging. But to open it up, you know how to do that. Real simple. You grab the unit. Just pop it open. Put the legs in place. Okay, so I'm going to pretend I'm going to Cellercise for a few moments. Done my Cellercise program, exercise workout, and now I want to put it away. So you pick it up, lay it back down. Now a new Cellerciser is going to be a little stiffer than a broken-in Cellerciser. But I stand on it, I lift the legs up about an inch, fold them over. You can either put your knee next to the left of the hinge, or if you're flexible enough, you can just stand on it. Just give it a little tug. Fold it in thirds. I take it, this is a part that's going to go on the bottom of the carrying case. So I'm going to flip it over and just set it in right like that. If the springs on the new unit are sticking up a little bit on the back or the front, it can be a little harder to close the carrying case. So if you reach in and you grab the mat, give it a little tug where they might be sticking up, then they fold over and you can zip it up, put it away, put the balance bar in there, and you're ready to go. I hope that helps.
All right. Okay. I know we're going to do a special on lungs, but somebody had just popped in when you were saying that last little piece. And will the lung exercises we'll do in a special help with COPD?
It will challenge your lungs. I believe it can strengthen them and actually help lungs grow. Mine did, and the doctors were amazed at how long my lungs had become. So it's a literal exercise, just as if you were exercising a muscle. But now we're exercising the lungs. And in the process of exercising the lungs, we're also having to clear out toxins and poisons, stimulate circulation, which helps to reduce inflammation and promote the healing process. Now, if you have COPD, it's important to check with your doctor or health practitioner. Let them know what you're thinking of doing, because I don't know your condition, and we don't want to create more inflammation. We want to reduce it. We want to help strengthen and open up the lungs. So it's done very, very gently to begin with. And then as they get stronger and as they open up and as you start clearing things out, which is very common, they'll feel better. But it can take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in some cases for it to really make a difference. And I've never seen anybody do an exercise like it.
Okay, so 2 updates. We just had somebody ask, because now they've seen the rug again. So they're asking on the status of the rug.
Okay.
We're working on it.
Yes, we are.
We are truly working on it. We actually had a manufacturer that came in with a few samples. And why don't you go ahead and tell them what they came up with?
Let me ask you a question. This unit right here, this mat, this rug, it cost me over $800. No one is going to buy a rug like that for $800, and nor should they. I did find a company that can produce it for, I'm thinking it was about $150?
At the most, yeah.
Yeah, it was about like $150. That's similar to this one right here, that same kind of quality. That's a quality one. And then we found another one that they could produce, and it was like $55, $60, but it was more of a foam type mat. So you might want to let us know what you think would be better. We should have samples of them available in a few months. We're working out all the details right now, but that's it. Everything that we do is a lengthy process, so we're bringing you up to speed, or kind of involving you as we go through the process. But the one that's the foamy mat, and I don't have the material in front of me. I wasn't expecting the question, but next week I will show you the samples of what we'll have.
And then I'll put a poll out there, and
Okay.
we can see what they say
Oh,
they
good,
would like the
good.
best, what
Sure.
fits in the best, and we'll get your opinion on that.
Right, because I have to buy them in quantity, and I need to know what would be better, what you would prefer. The better quality one's going to last for years. The lesser quality one, my concern is that when the feet are on it, it'll leave little indentations in it, and that's fine. But I'm concerned it might rub off the top part of it over time. Yeah. We don't know, so we'll try. We'll try both of them.
Okay, and then this Streamline Bar. It's not available online, but they can get that by calling in and ordering that. When will
Right.
that be available online?
In about 2 weeks.
Okay, so that should be coming on there. And so if you want to get that Streamline Bar, just give us a call here.
Yeah, we have
That's
limited
Cellercise.
limited quantities of it right now, and we don't want to put it on our website because they'll be gone like that. And we want to make it available for those who are participating, at least initially, and until we get a larger quantity available.
Okay, how about the app?
Yeah,
It's been asked on there, and
I
it's
know.
been asked here.
well, one of the technicians that was working on it was on vacation last week. He's going to be in touch with me on Wednesday to give me an update, and so I'll know more on Wednesday. They're working on it. I got another revision of it today, but it's the website that we're working on, and I work on Wednesday or Thursday with the webmaster to find out how everything is being coordinated and worked on, and I'll have another update on Monday.
Alrighty, okay. So here's our questions. We'll get to some of these. There's an awful
Sure.
lot today. If
Okay,
I
I'll
don't
try to
answer
go
them all,
through
we'll
quickly.
get them all answered
All right.
at some point, okay? Alrighty, I have a question. Once in a while, my right knee feels like it's going to hyperflex. Do I just take it easy or wrap it? And she is doing the knee exercises, so.
Yeah. In fact, wearing a wrap on it for additional support while you're building up the muscles and ligaments on a Cellerciser, great idea. Absolutely.
Okay, some of these are going to be for the back. We've had a lot of questions come in for sciatica, all kinds
Okay.
of things with the back issues next. So if you ask one of those questions, we'll get to that towards the end here.
Okay.
So I'm just going to skip over some of those. When doing the Jamba Run on the Cellerciser, should your feet be pointed straight forward or pointed outward to 10 and 2 o'clock?
This is a good question. Is if you can keep the knees over your toes more while you're doing it, that's going to give more structure and strength in a natural position. If you want to move your feet out, then you'll have a tendency to build more on the inside of the knee, and you'll probably walk more that direction. But yeah, it's kind of like in the martial arts where they have you keep your feet straight ahead, you're pushing your knees out a little bit. If you can be aware of that, you're going to strengthen the alignment over the toes of your foot better than you would if you did it the other way.
Okay. Alrighty. Another brand claims 10 minutes rebounding equals 30 minutes of running. Do you agree?
Dr. Paul Edevore did a study and published his findings in the Journal of Bariatric Physicians where he showed that at equivalent levels of basic oxygen uptake, you could burn calories 11 times faster than walking, 5 times faster than swimming, and 3 times faster than running. Now that, again, is at equivalent levels of oxygen uptake, which means you are working just as hard.
Okay, and so they have those little MyFitness app things that track your exercise, and a lot of them don't have rebounding or even trampoline in there. What could they possibly put this equivalent into there so they can track their exercising in minutes?
Basically, yeah, just know that it's going to be very efficient. It's not going to have the jarring effect. You're going to have G forces working on the body, not just muscles. You're not just opposing gravity, you're opposing the forces of acceleration, deceleration, and gravity. Those are 3 forces working on the body instead of just one. So it's going to be extremely efficient. And as far as the Fitbit type watches and things like that, do a count, or do a time. Say that you want to, this is what I do. If you put it on for a certain period of time, see how many times you can have your right foot come down and hit the Cellerciser within that certain amount of time, and then the next time see if you can increase it. So it's the intensity, not the amount of time, that really gives us a benefit. So Cellercise is very intense.
And it's kind of hard to track in those apps because it depends on the intensity that the person is Cellercising
It
at.
absolutely
and so that
is.
makes a difference.
That's
okay.
right.
All righty, okay, here we go. Okay, so people are asking about how to tighten our chins. It was really cute because what even said, what's the best thing for my chins, plural, and it made me giggle because I can agree. And so how can you tighten with aging facial and the sagging under the chin?
In the Cellercise DVD, Cellercise the Ultimate Exercise, I show what I call the natural facelift on the Cellerciser. When you tighten muscles and you hold the position and then you Cellercise, the skin has no option, and the collagen will start to adapt around that muscle and to firm up around the muscle. So to what degree it's going to affect, a lot of that's dependent upon a lot of different issues. Elasticity, age, flexibility of the skin, etc. But we can always work on the muscles, and the muscles can help to burn off the excess fat in this area and tighten and tone this whole neck area. The head's anywhere 10, 15, 20 pounds if you have a really big head. And if you take that head and you tilt it backwards a little bit, all the muscles in your neck and underneath your chin tighten to hold your head up. Well, on a Cellerciser, we're going to tilt the head while we're bouncing. And as we do that, the muscles, whoops.
We came apart. Sorry, folks.
I came apart.
Sorry.
Let's try getting that back on again. Okay, so I'll hold this. So the muscles have to hold the head up as you're bouncing up and down, and those muscles have no option. They have more weight on them. So that increase of weight is going to cause them to tighten up in this area.
Okay. All right. Can Cellercising help with hormone issues? If so, which exercise do you recommend for that? Is just overall?
Yep, the health balance, the baby balance, the moving up and down, thyroid, adrenals, endocrine system, everything is gently being stimulated just through the movement up and down. Remember, you're weightless over 100 times a minute. When you're weightless, that's when circulation, communication can flow through the body. Now, as you come down, the G forces slow you down, but it's weight bearing is causing a stimulation to occur on all the internal organs and connective tissues and ligaments and tendons and brain activity is all being stimulated through these different movements up and down. So it's literally whole body. The whole body is collectively involved all the time. Even if you alter the angle of your body in different positions, all you're going to do is become strong in an altered position. But the rest of the body is still involved. And that's unique. See, most calisthenics and exercises that target certain areas limit the effect only to that one particular muscle group or area. But when you alter the angle of your body on a Cellerciser, the whole body still has weight on it. We just focus it to certain areas of the body. It makes it, to me, it's the most effective, most efficient form of exercise available.
All right. Okay. So this gal is 37 and she's a mother of 3. She's got arthritis in her knees and looks like a stress incontinence, so pretty bad. She's having problems. She's unable to jump or leave the mat of the rebounder without obvious problems. Is there any way she can improve the fitness and lose weight without suffering from the above problems? I think with her case, it just takes time.
Yeah.
Doing the Kegel exercises like
we talked about, that's exactly right. And then working on the knees, we have to build and strengthen the supporting muscles, the ligaments around the joint before we're ever really going to be able to harness in the bigger muscles of the body for increasing metabolism or burning off calories. And so and we talked about the knee issues, and I think
it is in one of the weeks. I'll just refer to that.
But just standing and rocking side to side, hips, thighs, both sides of the knee, or just walking in place, pushing down into the mat. That's the whole front part of the knee, and it's also working the thighs until you can get strong enough that you can do it with more intensity.
All right. Okay, so This is one of my favorite questions I saw on here today. Are you ready for it?
Oh.
Okay. Should a bra be worn when exercising, or does that reduce the benefit of exercising breast tissue?
That's a great question, and it's totally and completely dependent upon how well endowed you are. Because if you are pretty well endowed and you're moving up and down, the movement can be too extreme for the little protein fibers that run through the breast, and it can actually break those protein fibers. When Dr. Kenneth Cooper exposed the world to the idea of aerobics, and men and women were going out and pounding the surface, it was very common for the movement up and down, the jarring, to actually be damaging to the abdominal rings in men, the vertebral joints, the breast, the heart, the knees, because of the ballistic impact. Ballistic impact can be very damaging. On the Cellerciser, you can wear a support bra or a sports bra, and as you move up and down, it'll help hold you in place. But then the weight-bearing activity can actually firm the connective tissues in the breast up. I know that for a fact. I know that's what happened to my wife. She experienced the same thing. So it literally starts to tighten the tone. We've heard about it through many other people and women as well. So you can enhance that by tightening at the chest, having that support, and moving up and down so that it's weight-bearing. So those protein fibers become more resistant to the weight. They firm up.
Okay, so for those of us who might give ourselves a black eye if we run down the block without being properly strapped in there, we should be doing that to get the best effect from Cellercising then, right?
With good support, yes.
Alrighty,
Good.
okay.
Good.
All right, I think we're just to our neck question. So I am going to ask you one specific question and then we're just going to kind of start going down the back and talk about a few things. And this is what we'll specialize in here on this week 12 today. All right. Need exercise that will put my neck muscles back in position. Head is constantly bent over and looking down.
Okay. It's important to remember that the skeletal system cannot support itself. It is supported by the muscles and ligaments. When those muscles become weak in the shoulders and then the neck, you'll see gravity start to win. And you'll see people with their shoulders drooping and their heads drooping. And a lot of that has to do with weaknesses in the supporting muscles and ligaments. I remember a lady who called me up who told me she was so excited because she'd been Cellercising for a period of time. And every time she stood in front of her mirror by her clothes, she had one of those mirrors in her closet, that she would look over and she'd be kind of bent over like this. She started Cellercising, and one day she looked over and she noticed she was standing erect. And she called me up to tell me she's all excited. Well, these muscles here help support our posture. Now, working with a chiropractor is a great idea because they're going to put the bones back in alignment. Now we have to work on the muscles and ligaments to help support that alignment. So the chiropractors that I work with will do an adjustment, and then they'll have, when appropriate, they'll have their patient get on the Cellerciser and just gently bounce up and down. You're not favoring one side of the body over the other. So as you're gently bouncing up and down, the muscles are flexing around the new alignment. If they're tighter on one side, they're going to start to loosen to support the muscles on the other side. And it expedites the whole healing process. So doing massaging to loosen up those muscles while you're gently moving up and down on the Cellerciser, which moves fluid up and down so that you can push that fluid in between the vertebral joints and loosen up those muscles to get that flexibility. Working again with a chiropractor will expedite the healing process. And if it's because of osteoporosis or weakening of the bones, remember Cellercise is also weight-bearing without jar to help promote osteoblastic activity, to help build up the bone density. And we've had some incredible stories that you can read on our website with regards to the actual bones and skeletal system.
Okay, so you've talked about the neck. Let's look at some exercise techniques that are good for the neck, and then that's your upper back right in there. And then let's talk about things that are good for the middle, and then the lower back, and then let's spend a few minutes talking about scoliosis and the sciatica, which
Good.
I haven't had scoliosis, but I have had sciatic nerve problems, so
Okay.
it'd be nice to know.
Let's do it. I'm going to be on this for a while, so I'm going to kick my shoes off. And let's start. We always begin health or baby bounce, just like this. Relax everything, gently move up and down until, well, our objective here is to increase flexibility of the tissue. This is far more efficient, far more efficient for anybody in sports and athletic activities, in my opinion, than stretching. Stretching can actually tear, especially when the muscles are cold. Cellercise moves circulation through the body while it's gently massaging the tissue. So it becomes more flexible and it warms up. And so after we're warmed up and we've opened up the circulatory system and the channels, the tissue, the lymphatic system is pulling that circulation between all the tissue spaces, the bones and joints. The wake-up call is what I call this. Then we can start to focus on different concerns. Now, with the neck area, holding your fingertips underneath right where the atlas is and where the skull connects to it, you're kind of pushing up and doing little massages. Now, you may notice some tension there. That tension can build up and cause headaches and other issues. But as you massage it and moving up and down, you'll find that that tension will start to go away. And see how much better you sleep, see how much better you feel. So those little movements up and down, you can work down the vertebral joints, and you can actually tilt the head slightly while you're doing it, tilt the head slightly the other way, so that you're massaging the muscles, and you're helping to move that fluid between the vertebral joints back to the disc. And we'll talk about disc in just a moment. Now, those are some of the very basic movements. You can accentuate that by doing movements where you take your hand, put it over your head, gently drop your head, and gently bounce. You don't have to overstretch. You shouldn't. This is gentle movements. You don't want to irritate a nerve or it can set you back a little bit, but Cellercise is still very forgiving. So we gently move this direction, and then we can take our head, turn toward our shoulder, put a hand on the back, gently pull down while we're moving up and down. And you'll feel that stretch. Again, you don't have to overstretch, but if you have an issue, you'll definitely feel it. Take your hand, do the other side, same way. And this is after we've massaged it and we've increased circulation. And then back here. And you can do several repetitions of that. I end up with gently helping to move that circulation again to restore that homeostasis. But see how you feel when you're done. I would notice when I first started doing that tension right there at the skull and the atlas, and you could push up on it and you could feel it. And doing this just helped to loosen everything up and increase that flexibility. It feels wonderful. So on the shoulders, as we're working our way down, we talked a little bit about some of those movements. For example, sticking your elbows in front. If you have a bad shoulder, you can support it with your hand, move it up. Most of these are, not all of it, but a lot of this is featured in the DVD Cellercise, the Ultimate Exercise. You can take your elbow, stick it up over your head, gently bounce up and down for a few moments, stick it out to the side, gently bounce up and down for a few moments, and then back and front. So we're opening up the rotator cuff and the shoulders. Now, for the scapula or shoulder blades, which is another area of concern, and often we end up working with shoulders when the problem is in the scapula. And we're not going to solve the problem in the shoulder while there's still a problem in between the shoulder blades. So by opening that up, we put our arm underneath and just kind of stretch a little bit. You'll feel the stretch in the shoulder if you have tension there. And it helps with the scapula as well. And then you do the same thing on the other side. And gently pull that direction. Don't overstretch. You don't need to. When you get to the point where you feel the stretch and you're still gently moving up and down, the Cellerciser massages the tension away. You don't have to tear or pull or do anything crazy. The Cellerciser is massaging. So that's one. Things like this help to open up the scapula and the shoulder as well. Giving yourself that bear hug and then taking the elbows and trying to touch them behind you. if you're, don't do that aggressively. If you do, it's a good chance you're going to pinch a nerve. And if you do that, it's going to take a few days to go away. So do it gently. And our objective here is to open things up. But it's going to take a little time because we don't know how close a nerve is to stress or tension or to another vertebral joint. And we don't want to irritate that. We want to open it up, and then we'll have more flexibility. And that's what this is designed to do. So that's the upper back, another movement which is really, really good for the upper back and shoulders. And I equate this kind of like with the dog that has, that's upside down and it's twisting and moving all around because it's getting their back very flexible and keeping it flexible. I'm sure it feels wonderful. We don't generally get on our backs and squirm around like that. But on a Cellerciser, we can pump circulation up and down as we're moving up and down. And this is on our DVD. And just drop the shoulders and lift the knee up and down. It may look a little strange, but let me tell you, this movement, I do it every day because I know what it's like to have back problems. I used to have them. So that movement is going to open up or loosen the muscles, and over time it opens up the vertebral joints. Now, it's not unusual to have a herniated disc. You know, the things that we can do, discs can move. They can expand at times, they can contract, and they can move based upon our activity or something that we've done. To help open that up, think of and this is true with the neck as well, think of a disc which is in between the vertebral joints. That's what helps to keep the distance from the vertebral joints. The nerves come out between. If the disc shrinks, we get more pressure on the vertebral joints. We can irritate a nerve. We can do something because we're too close to the nerve. Our objective is to open up the vertebral joints and increase circulation to the disc. Now, a disc can be equated to a sponge or similar to a sponge. When a sponge dries out, it shrinks and becomes hard. But what happens when you apply more water to that sponge? It starts to get soft again. It starts to expand, right? Well, the discs are very similar. It's called imbibition or imbibing the disc with synovial fluid. The increase of fluid to the disc, which most people don't know how to do or take the time to do, the increase of circulation to the disc can help imbibe that disc with more fluid, and it can literally start to expand again, increasing flexibility between the vertebral joints. And that's our objective. So by taking my elbow, sticking it up over my head, leaning to the left, I think it's maybe right on their screen, huh? Okay, leaning to the right or the left. And as you open up the back, you stretch, you open up the vertebral joints. The moment you feel any tension, we stop. Hold the position, just gently move up and down. Allow the movement again to help massage the tension away, and you'll become more flexible as you do it. And again, it takes time. It took me, and I didn't know what I was doing at the time. I had to learn the hard way. But it took me a couple years to really build up my back. But when I was done, I was not only more flexible, far more flexible, I was also 3/4 of an inch taller, which I didn't believe. But I've been measured by 3 doctors and 1 attorney. So I share it, and I'm not the only one. We've had people who have lost an inch in their height and since Cellercising have regained it again. So we don't know all the reasons why. It could be alignment, it could be part of it, it could be increase of circulation to the disc, but we know the end result has been we have more flexible backs. So when you're done with that side, you do the same thing the other way and gently move up and down. And it's working all over the back, the shoulders, the scapular area. And then we work on the lower back. Now the lower back is where we're told up to 80% of Americans are going to have lower back problems to contend with. And I used to be one of those. So by taking our elbow, same position, lifting it up, stretching, and then taking the right leg, for example, and crossing it in front of the left leg, I'm starting to open up the lower back. Now, if you have stress or tension in the lower back, you will feel that movement. I'm not feeling anything right now. That's a good thing. But when there is stress or tension there, it helps to open that up. Take the left elbow, same thing, tilt, gently bounce and cross in front. And you'll feel it if you have tension there. And over time, it starts to loosen that tension. I end up, from that point, I lift the heels up and down, and I do a gentle twist. And this is part of my daily routine, this gentle twist, for a lot of reasons. But the gentle twisting, it's similar to doing things where you're working the upper back, but now you're working the lower back. You can work the upper back just by lifting your arms up and doing it as well. But as I'm gently twisting side to side, I'm increasing flexibility, loosening up stress or tension. And the movement up and down pumps circulation, which as I twist, the muscles help to push between the vertebral joints to the disc. So as the muscles loosen and the discs expand, it helps the body become more flexible. It's interesting because often when I do demonstrations, and chiropractors have done the same thing, I'll sit someone in a chair with their back up against a chair, lift their feet up, and examine their legs. And it's very common for one leg to be shorter than the other. But when we get on a Cellerciser, we're not favoring one side of the body over the other. We're moving up and down equally. So if the hips are out of alignment a little bit, which is very common, and we're moving up and down equally, hips start to drop and move. And the muscles start to stretch. And then when we test them again, and we've done this hundreds of times, we test them again, their legs are almost equal, if not equal. And that's another testimony of the benefits of Cellercise. I'm going to show you a couple more that you can do, which is more of a new video that I'm working on that will have a number of movements like this. But this is one of them. And it helps with the back as well. And we can start off by bending at the knee a little bit and grabbing the Cellerciser frame itself. So we bend at the knee, we grab the Cellerciser frame, and then we start to slowly lift our knees up. And you may only get this far, but if you get to the point where you can just stretch the legs up and gently bounce with my legs straight or bent, if that's what you can do, that's okay. You're starting to loosen the back and the hamstrings all the way up and down the back of the leg. Now you can do a variance of that by bending here, taking and leaning to the left, and just stretch one leg if you can't stand up straight. And you'll feel that stretch in that leg. If you lift your foot up, you'll feel it even more. And then you do the same thing the other way and just kind of lift your foot up while you're gently bouncing. See, that bouncing makes all the difference in the world because it's constantly increasing circulation and flexibility of the tissue. And then end up just gently stretching, gentle health bounce for a couple minutes to restore homeostasis, and you're done. Now, Christine, we're going to talk a little bit about an issue you shared with me today. Because I asked her, I said, how are you doing? Yeah, and she said, I've had a rough time because of having a hard time sleeping.
I don't sleep.
Okay, and that's
3 hours tops, maybe.
all right.
So
I've noticed in the years that I've worked with people that often that occurs because if people have ever been on antibiotics or if people have been on chemicals, preservatives, additives, things that can compromise the natural bacteria within our intestines, that often they can have a harder time sleeping as well. They say a great majority of our illnesses come because of poor digestion elimination processes. And I'm listening to that because I know that people that have taken a lot more probiotics, or in my case, when I have a hard time sleeping, this is what I do. I'm not prescribing it, but it's what I do. I'll take 5 tablespoons of plain, good yogurt. I'll mix some frozen berries or fruit in there, maybe put a little granola, and then I'll eat that before I go to bed. I get on the Cellerciser, and let me turn this back around here. Yeah. I just gently move up and down. Do it for about 2 to 3 minutes. Just gently moving up and down. The moment you can feel the pressure at the tips of your fingers, There'll be a little throbbing, a little pressure. Now you know you're getting it through all the extremities and different areas of your body. And it can take some people a while to do that because they may have cold hands or poor circulation. But as this improves the circulation, you just gently relax your shoulders, back, and buttocks. This is what we do with babies when they're fussy and they're under stress or distress and they just can't sleep. But we gently move them up and down, and it is extremely relaxing. Just don't fall off. But it is relaxing. I shared this once to a lady at the National Health Federation I was speaking at once. And I'd gone back there 6 months later after I shared that gentle movement. And my wife was with me, and there was a group of people around. And this lady, who I didn't know who she was, came running up, launched herself on top of me through the air, literally through the air, leaped up, legs around me, grabbed me. I'm holding her. I'm like, I don't know who this lady is. It was very awkward. For a moment. And then she got down. She said, I just have to say thank you so much. She said, I used to have a real hard time sleeping. I had to take all kinds of sleep medications. I've had this same story many times. And she said, I started Cellercising, and I can sleep again, and I'm not on any of the medications. And thank you so much. And, I didn't realize that was such a prevalent problem today until I got older. I just knew it worked for me. I knew that if you had a baby that was fussy, you can get on the Cellerciser and gently move a baby up and down. It may burp the baby as well.
We had a testimonial that just this week, grandkids came over. She had a fussy little one. She got on there with that baby and bounced and sound asleep. And someone had been asked, how long did they sleep? She said, all night long. So you're right.
Yeah, it's been so much fun discovering and sharing these things. Thank you, Christine, for sharing that. But it's true. If you take that baby and gently bounce the baby up and down, the baby relaxes. Well, here's something that's kind of, and my kids, I did that with all of them. But here's something that's interesting is often if a baby's fussy and a parent gets up to take care of the baby and they're trying to get the baby to relax and they finally get the baby down again, that they go back to sleep and they're just laying there. They can't get back to sleep because they're stressed. But when you're on a Cellerciser and you're gently moving up and down with both of you, it's relaxing for both of you. So that when you're ready, you can put the baby down and then you can go back to sleep as well. So I think that's another hidden secret of one of the benefits of Cellercise.
Okay, so sciatic.
Oh yes, let's talk about that.
And the scoliosis.
Okay.
Really quick.
All right, the scoliosis, it's best to work with a chiropractor because the bones are not aligned correctly, but the muscles are not used to the correct alignment either. So when a chiropractor makes an adjustment, if you can find out from the chiropractor how the curvature is happening, then you should be able to be sensitive enough to it in your body anyway, because depending on how that curve is, the moment you bend, you're going to feel a lot of stress or tension on one side of the body over the other side of the body. And so as we start to loosen up those muscles and gently bounce, it can help to loosen those muscles up faster, keep better circulation, reducing inflammation as we promote the whole healing process. For the sciatica, this has been something that I was surprised that worked. But my customers over the years have told me that they received enormous benefit in this one. And I expanded upon it a little bit. Originally, it was just doing the twist, and it helped. And the twisting itself helps to loosen all the muscles that wrap around the hip. But then I altered the movement a little bit by, instead of moving at the waist or the hips, just this doing the twist, we hold the hips straight ahead, we lift the heels up and down, and we gently twist in the hip socket area. The combination of those two help to open up this whole area where the nerve wraps around to loosen up the stress and tension. And we have had numerous people let us know how that had helped them. You know, the body has got an enormous potential for health. And as we learn how to work with it, we can improve and enhance his ability to do the job it already best knows how to do. And that's what Cellercise is all about.
Okay, so last weekend I have a really good routine that I'm doing now that I absolutely love. I know that it helps with a lot of pain. Our house was flooded with kids this last weekend.
Oh,
and,
that's what the stress is.
Yeah, and so maybe I should have prefaced that, but I woke up Sunday morning and got on immediately so I could feel like I could handle my day with the kids. And it does make a big difference. So I am going to start doing it at night as well. I actually am going to try the yogurt thing and see how that goes.
Yeah.
So I will just continue to do my routine. And for those that don't know it, I'll list it so you can see it in there as well. Because I don't think we should change. I'm doing really well.
Okay,
I'm maintaining my weight, hoping for a little bit more to come down. Actually went dress shopping.
Good.
Now, this should have been a cry moment for me, but it wasn't a cry moment for me. I actually dropped down a couple dress sizes. I was excited. In fact, my sweet husband that's here with us today was like, that's a good thing for him.
Yeah.
If I'm happy, he's happy. The whole house is happy. That's just how it is. So I will just keep up with that if that's okay with you.
Keep up with that. Increase the intensity as you feel better. And it doesn't have to be all the time. But every time we increase the intensity, we increase our metabolic processes too.
Okay.
And so that's going to help expedite that.
Okay. And so I think we're at the end here, but I'm going to do something so hopefully he doesn't hate me for this.
Okay.
Okay. So he's always talking about the ultimate exercise, the DV that's the ultimate exercise, right?
Cellercise, the ultimate exercise.
I personally myself am going to purchase one of these and I'm going to give it to one of you.
Oh.
So the way I'm going to give this to you is we're all here benefiting from this wonderful thing that he designed and made possible for us. I couldn't be more grateful. Could not be more grateful. And I'm just months into it. So those that have been on, like Jill, that have been here for years, doing this Vitor over and over again, they notice this. If you will share this live, so you just have to come in here and tag a few people in it once I post it. If you'll share this with 3 people, I'll put you in for the drawing. Okay, so like it, share it for me. That'll be your comment. And then next week when we come in, we will draw for that DVD, and then I will mail it to you with a wonderful little thank you. So
well, let's add to that. Let's do it.
We're going to add.
We're going to do 3. Let's do 3
so we're going to
people.
give 3 people are going to get this DVD. I want to get this in people's hands. I want them to realize how important it is to learn some of these other techniques and to just have it within your home. Now, I do understand that a few of you do not have the ability to watch a DVD. Unfortunately, technology is headed that way. We're solving that problem.
Yes,
that will be coming. But for now, until that is available, we're going to give 3 away next week. So you must share or like this with, share it all you want, but tag 3 people in a comment here and like it, and that will get you into our drawing for next week.
And for those of you who are new, you're probably thinking, well, I've seen these things. I can go down to the store and get one, or I used to jump on one of these when I was a kid. For those of you who are in the know, you already know the difference. But typical rebounders do not work like a Cellerciser. We're the only ones that have a tridaptable spring design. It's a larger spring, larger diameter in the middle with a ridge that tapers and then another ridge where it tapers. The steel quality in our spring is what makes a huge difference. The mat material is different. If you want to know more about why the Cellerciser is unique, go to our website, cellercise.com, or feel free to converse with some of the people who are part of the Cellercise family. But we get comments all the time from people who say, well, how come I never could get these kind of results on my unit? And I said, well, because it wasn't designed to perform like the Cellerciser does. There is a difference. They are not all created equal. And we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee so you can try the Cellerciser and experience it for yourself as well. So,
okay.
Thank you, Christine.
So we'll be back next week.
Thank you, everyone.
I'll post so that, well, in the Cellercise group side, you'll post on the other one. I share it all. And ask your questions next week. If there were any questions asked that we did not address, I promise we will make sure that they get addressed and your questions get answered. If you have anything you need to know, I know you answer the phone and you're usually here. And I don't know how many of you guys can actually call the owner of a fantastic product and talk to him. I doubt I could call the owner of who makes my car and ask him why something's not working. So we have such a wonderful tool right in our hands. We should grasp it and take it, and we'll see you next week.
That sounds great.
All righty.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.